See what we got. It says we're live. We'll wait a few minutes to see who all pops on. We might have 40. We might have 80. We might have
Cool.
10,000.
I sent it to all my family, my mom, my dad, like all of them, and I was like, "Who's gonna show up? Who wants to hear me talk at 9:30 Eastern?
Yeah,
We're gonna find out
exactly.
who's laying in bed listening."
Yeah. Yeah, I love that so much. Oh, yeah. So that's the thing about the live flow of things. It's like there's no editing. We don't have. I gotta bring in a jingle though. I'll be like, "Alive with Joey and his friends," or something stupid.
You at least have a voice. If I do that, I'd be like, "Alive with Ben."
maybe I'll bring in your
Welcome to live.
baritone to that. We'll bring in the
Just
bass.
as
Give me
low
the
as
bass.
I can go.
Yeah. It's too funny. Devin, what's up? Allison, John, can you see the comments? Do you have your
I
comments
cannot
section?
see comments.
Okay, so if you go to your
I
right,
can now. I can now. Yeah.
Sweet. So I'll hey Heather. Oh yeah. So this is fuck. I was telling Ben when we got on. I just talked for about 10 minutes before going live, and I was like, my energy right now. Like I'm just like, I want to dance, I want to sing, I want to run through the forest. You know, I'm like in a really good light mood. Maybe that was you I was picking up on.
I hope so, man. Like I said, it's been a rough week, but like I said, as soon as you popped on, you're like, "Yo, I've been dancing, I've been vibing." I was like,
Yeah.
"Yo," I was like, I've been waiting for this. We were kind of talking, like he said, before we jumped on, and it was just kind of like I've been having a rough week. If you've been seeing anything on my Instagram, it's kind of been like a little bit of depression, a little bit of anxiety. And as soon as you popped on, I was like, this is the like helping hand I was like looking for. And like sometimes when you're in that state, you just put your blinders on. You're like, I don't know,
Yeah.
I don't know. But like you came in, you're like, I was like, I could get the chills up my arms, and I was like, this is that like floating sensation. I'm like, we're back, baby. We're moving. We're grooving.
Right. Well, thank you for sharing that, brother. Okay, so here is Alive with Joey. We're back. This is episode 19, and my boy Ben Meyers, and better known as shoot. What is your tag again? What's your handle on TikTok?
Somebodylike.you. Somebodylike.you.
Mm-hmm. I know most of the people here have seen you, seen your stuff. Nice. You know, I was saying how much I resonated with it right from the get-go. Just how similar, you know, the struggles with mental health, and I mean, so many of us have gone through or are going through it. Tell us a little bit about Ben and kind of where, you know, what got you here.
So it's like my little 30-second elevator pitch. It's kind of like how I help to define myself. It's kind of like I remember literally in the third grade, just walking around and seeing like a table full of special needs children, special need classroom, just eating. And there weren't enough hands to help feed them. And I don't know if I was asked to go. I just walked over and I just started sitting down, hanging out, talking. And it was kind of like, you know, especially at that time in your life, you don't know what's right, you don't know what's wrong, you don't know where you're supposed to be. So like that was just me, as authentic as I could be as a third grader, going to help people. And through my life, I've always looked back on that. I was like, that's just what I want to do. I don't know, like I want to take whatever, I want to get myself out of that box of how you help people. I'm a social worker, I'm a this, I'm a that. I want that label off of me, and I just want to be a helper. However I can help best is what I want to do. So that's always changing, right? So I guess the best way to describe myself is I'm the ever elusive finding how to help people in the moment they need help, however that can be, and whatever gifts I have that can help them, that's what I'm looking to do.
Oh, I love that. The gifts. We all have those gifts too, huh? Yeah. We don't, you know, like, fuck you. I look at my childhood too, and very similar, just very emotional, super sensitive kid. I'm super sensitive now. I might cry on this show. We don't know. We never know.
Hell yeah.
You know, we just never know.
Yeah.
And but the gifts, man. My whole life, I used to always say, like, wow, these people are gifted. Wow, look at these people. Look at these people. And I always put people on pedestals without even knowing. And then, you know, you start to do your own work and start to dig in a little deeper into yourself. And you're like, fuck, I got gifts.
Right.
Let's give them, you know, like,
right.
It's so good.
And, dude, and the thing about that is too, is like, I find myself rooting so hard for other people. I think people think I'm fake. Like, what does this guy want from me? Because like when I see people living their purpose, or they're doing things like they're taking that jump, no matter how small it might be. And I sit there and I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, let's go. And all of a sudden, like, people are like, whoa, that's a bit much.
What do you fucking care?
And I was like, I care because that's my story too. Like, I jump every day just getting out of the bed in the morning being like, today's the day. Like, we're doing something great today. 1% better today.
Well, it's like someone asked me a while ago, why do you always say I love you? You don't even know half these people. Like, that's kind of weird. And I'm like, I don't
Ooh.
need a reason to say I love you, just like most people don't need a reason to say they hate someone or hate a group of people or a religion or it doesn't matter. Like, there's no like, I don't need to know these people to know that we are all going through the same shit.
Oh my gosh.
You
It's
know,
so funny you say that because I have a similar experience. I have this thing where, like, I get really scared to tell people I'm proud of them because I have this inferior complex of like, who am I to say I'm proud of you? But then I often, like, people are like in my lives on TikTok, they're like, you don't understand how many of us haven't been told someone's proud of us.
yeah,
So just like somebody, like, because I never care what that number says of amount of followers. The only
right,
thing that tells me really, like, how many people have I impacted?
right.
So like when I say I'm proud of you, like, just for coming in, sharing your name and your experience, like, that is
Yeah.
brave as shit.
Well,
Like,
I think that comes back to the essence of this show and what it is and how it's changing. Like, that's what this is all about. Giving everyday people an opportunity to be open, raw, and vulnerable, right? And to just share.
mm,
Because until I started talking about my story and my struggles and my abuse and or PTSD or whatever the fucking
yep.
everything. It wasn't until then that I realized, holy shit, that person needed to hear that. And it wasn't even much. It was just like, yo, I struggled like this. I almost like I wanted to kill myself at one point. I didn't do it, never had a plan. But and then one years, it could be a 19-year-old kid going through it right now. A
Yeah.
21-year-old kid, like it's just
I'm getting
crazy. And
ringing in
that's
my ears listening to that now.
yeah, dude. Like it seems small, when you say, oh, I'm just make a podcast. That'll be cool. Everybody has a podcast. Oh, is mine going to be good enough? And I'm like, fuck that. Let's just give people a stage to talk about it. And the
Oh,
healing that comes with just having these conversations. You don't even know. You don't even
no.
know. So,
No, because you could look in the comments and people, even if they're not feeling that right now,
mhm.
maybe in their lives they felt it. Now they can look back and be like, wow, I'm really proud of myself for getting through that. Or maybe they know someone, a brother, a sister, a mom, a dad that have gone through things and maybe we were just too ignorant to see it because we were blinded our entire lives. But now it's
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, just by having these conversations, we can be more empathetic, compassionate towards
Yeah.
people that we had no idea what they might be going through because we now can just peel back the layers a little bit and be like, wow, I remember feeling and doing similar things
Hmm.
because I felt this way. So now
Hmm.
I think what you're doing is amazing, not only because, but you're having the conversations with everyday people who are going through
Yeah.
literally everyday things.
Yeah.
It's not like anxiety and depression, all this stuff are like blasted on billboards and this and that. It's like, no, like I want to like normalize that. Like that is how we feel on a day. Like that's just emotions and
Yeah.
extreme emotions.
Right.
But let's normalize it and talk about it so we can go through it together
Yeah.
instead of pinning a diagnosis onto somebody.
So, what does it do for you? Like, what does that do to your heart when someone said, like, not even says something, but you're serving, or you're helping someone, like, or you're seeing someone like you said earlier, like step up, or make it through a huge challenge, or take a leap of faith. Like, what does that make you? What does that do for you?
Makes me feel like I'm living my purpose.
Yeah.
But however, and I might not even have to say a word, but if someone's brave enough to talk, if I'm in a space and someone's talking about it or sharing something with me, I always think of myself as I want to be the person to help another person unlock their true self, unlock their
Hmm.
potential, unlock the door to whatever it is they're trying to do.
Yeah.
And just if my presence can help someone feel comfortable enough to talk about something or maybe have that conversation, that's what I feel like. I'm sitting there like my soul's on fire. Like I'm getting just
Yeah.
as much out of it as I feel they are. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's why I'm here, you know?
It's that. Yeah. So how? Like, were you always the one that people just opened up to?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, if my family's in the chat right now, they'll say like, we always felt like there's these people like, that just follow us, and like everyone has to tell you their life story,
Right.
and sometimes it's a little overwhelming because like, who are you? I'm just trying to pick up bread at the
Yeah.
grocery store,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you're like, all of a sudden, I found out about your alcoholic son, this and that, but then you sit there like, that's a gift. Like before, like
Yeah.
you're taught that that's an inconvenience, but like no, that's opportunity for you to change someone. So maybe they just have no one to talk to, and they looked at you and you're like, I need someone just to hear this. And 30 seconds after that, if they have like that breath of fresh air, like, and you're able to provide that just by simply listening and just maybe even just nodding, but just giving people that space to talk and be them. That's such a gift, man.
Yeah, I agree. I was always the guy too, and I always loved it. I never took it lightly either. Like, I just always found it like, wow, like this person who I kind of know or don't really know is bearing his soul or their soul to me. You know, like they're literally going into the depths and they're going into this shit they probably haven't even really went into. And just because of the flow of the conversation, it comes out and they're like, and a lot of times they'll be like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no, like, no.
Mm-mm.
That was fucking magic. And I said, you know, depends on who and what, but like that right there. And when they go, they don't even realize what they're doing, but they're expressing themselves in a way that they may not have done in years or maybe ever.
Oh my gosh. Like, and that's the thing. That's like I like to think of it as like the bridge to therapy. It's kind of like you have to have those people around you in which you can be real and vulnerable with, and people that you don't get the feeling they're judging you, right? When I feel like I'm giving advice or my perspective, like I'm not trying to get stuff out of it, because like you said, I celebrate you just for talking, for being vulnerable, for whatever anyone's doing. Like, hey, I'm starting a new business. I don't know if I'm going to be any good at it. Fuck yeah.
Like, I know. That's exactly the 2 words I'll use too. Fuck yeah. Like,
dude, like, come on. Because like you get it, and like it's those little things. Like they're like, what do you want from it? Why do you want money from me? Do you want me to hire? It's like, no, I just want to see you succeed. Like I want just like I want to see myself succeed. I feel like the more I share my excitement, and it's the whole karma thing, right? Like if I feel like it should be illegal if I get excited for someone and I turn off that switch. I'm like, good luck. Wow. Handshakes.
Absolutely. We joked about this in like when we first started doing the show, and in my lives too. I already like, if I could do anything, I'd be a professional hype man. I'd just follow you around and just be like, let's fucking go. You got this. I know what you're made of. Let's move in. Like, let's move into this. Yep, that challenge. We got this. And I just want to be that person because I literally feel what they're like. That's something I just have I don't know what it is. Like I see, no. Like I see what you got in you. Like,
dude, you tap into energy, man.
Yeah.
You tap into like, and so, cause I think about this just cause I know like you're involved in the spiritual world, and like, that's a world I've been just tapping into for years now.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's exactly that. Like, I feel like I'm tapping into the version of you that's already made it. And I'm excited to see you finally start. Like if I'm down this timeline, I'm looking back and like, now we're doing it. Like you're about to open these doors that you have no idea. It's going to be tough as shit. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But you're stepping into the purpose that you are here to do. And it might not be clear. Like anybody listening, I'm partially talking to myself right now too. Like it's not clear right now. Right. Like, like it's that channeling feeling. It's just kind of like, it might 100%. Not be clear right now, but if you have, I put down like not rules for myself, but guidelines. Like as long as I'm helping somebody, helping people, and putting out positive vibes and positive energy in the world, like I'm doing what I'm here to do.
Yeah.
The rest is being the creator. Like that's the creative process. Like, okay, well, how are you going to do it? Now, how are you going to have fun doing it?
Yeah.
Because you're living your purpose. Now enjoy it.
So when did your, like when you going back to mental health and your struggles, when was the first kind of conscious remembering of your struggles, depression, anxiety, or anything along those lines? Like when did you see it start?
Elementary school. I got bullied pretty bad in elementary school, and went to a Catholic school. And I remember like there was, like the positive kids or the popular kids, this and that. And I remember like years later, people like, oh, what do you know? You were in the popular group. And I remember being like, I was on the shit end of the popular group where like the cool kids, like it was, and like you sit there. And so I went into like my first time in therapy, we were talking about it, and she was like, so first thing I need you to understand is you're a chameleon. What you've learned is how to survive. Because I told her, like, I can go into rooms and read energy. Like I get in there and I'm like, I know what the conversation was. I know what's going, like, it's one of those, and I know how to alter it. Like it became really nice when I was single in my 20s, right? You go there like, oh, well, I know these are the things I need to say. This is the thing I need to do. And what she said was like, no, you learned how to survive as a kid, so you wouldn't get ridiculed, beat up, harassed, this and that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I wonder how many people have gifts that are being covered as trauma, right? Like you tapped into all these gifts because you had to.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Dude,
so elementary school.
Well, it's funny, man, because the people who have heard me talk for the last few years, and even on this show and in my lives, they're going, "Oh my god, it's like Joey's story, like the chameleon of all chameleons." Like I would just do like in this, like, and I wasn't bullied. I mean, I'd been bullied a few times when I was younger, but high school and stuff, I always got along with everyone, and I still do. Like I'm just I think I'm a pretty easy person to get along with. Like I got a good energy, but I got along with the jocks because I was an athlete and I loved playing sports, and I got along with these guys and that group and different, whatever labels you want to put on these different cliques. But I would be different, and I'd be like, oh, they like when Joey's like this here. This is what I'm gonna be. So Joey's gonna be the class clown here. And they like Joey here this way, the drunken idiot. So I can fucking kill that. Like that's no problem. Like we want to party, you want to do something stupid, let's go. Like, oh, this group is more this way. I'm like, okay. So that same, it's the survival. And when I started to look at working, as a hypnotherapist and learning about the subconscious, survival is your first instinct. It's a
basic instinct.
It's what you will do. You will adapt. You will mold yourself to your surroundings for that survival, and that is beautiful when you're young. But then there comes a point where it's like, what are you sacrificing now? And that's where my depression kicked in big time. Is like I couldn't even keep up with the movies I was making. Like like I couldn't keep up anymore. I'd be like, fuck this, and bottom of the bottle, and then fucking this and this stupid shit, and then all of a sudden, like my soul was just like screaming. Like, when are you going to give this up? Like, when are you going to give up this gig? Like, it's killing you. And it was almost did.
We talked about like almost crying, dude. I felt that really hard.
Yeah.
I felt that really hard. I wrote, I wasn't one to journal for a really long time. And I still struggle, but I do it. But I remember I wrote a journal entry, and it was pretty much like it was like one of those, like, it wasn't my departure note, but it was, if anyone were to read this, they'd understand why. And it was just went through the passing of my grandfather, just went through the passing of my best friend to addiction. The movie you talk about, I was playing this version of myself that I thought everybody else knew me as, and I hit the brick wall of, I don't know who the fuck I am.
Yeah.
And it's been a really, really long time since I've tapped into me. So I was like, okay, what is this? And I wrote a book, and it was called How to Become Respectfully Selfish, and I share the note in it. Vulnerable, raw, that's what this is about, right?
Yeah.
And it was kind of like I woke up every morning deciding which mask I was going to put on, only to watch it bleed off throughout the day. And when I got home by myself, I didn't know who the fuck
what was left. Yeah, what's left at that point?
Nothing. And that's the thing, is like, if I have a bad day and I'm living my purpose, I can be like, you know what, I just didn't have the juice today. But when you don't know who you are, and you don't know what you're doing, and you're like, I got nothing to save me from drowning right now. I don't have my own two legs to stand on. That was really, when you said that movie, Roman, it was just, I spent so much of my life trying to be the person I thought everyone else thought I was. And it's the chameleon, man.
Yeah.
It was just, I spent so much time making it because I had to. I didn't, like I said, once I got out of that Catholic school, I was exactly what you're talking about. The class clown. I was the jock. I could get along with the musicians. I could get, oh, you want to go drink? I was the same person, man. And all of a sudden, I got to the point where I wasn't actually any of them.
Yeah.
I was just really good at acting. Really good at acting.
Yeah. And do you ever catch yourself now, even like, because I do, like I feel like I'm living the most authentic life I've ever lived right now. Is it fully me? No. I still have insecurities, and I still have, like just stupid shit. I'll call it stupid. It's not really stupid. It's just these things that are still alive and well within me. And I catch myself acting a certain way or not speaking my truth where I should have, being worried about being, triggering someone the wrong way, not posting something because I'm like, oh, what if they're gonna. So do you still catch yourself? Because as authentic as you feel you are, do you still feel yourself going into those roles?
I catch myself still trying to find myself, but being comfortable with it now.
Yeah.
Before I was scared, I was so lost. Now I feel liberated. I'm so lost. As if
that's so,
you know what I mean? Like,
good, man.
Right? Like, it's almost as if like this is my opportunity. Before it was a blindfold.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of like you were given a blank slate to find yourself, create yourself, not even find yourself, create yourself to the version. Like I always talk about like tapping into the highest version of yourself. Like what would the highest version of yourself be doing? Do that. How do you see yourself? Do the things that self would be doing.
So I did this a few weeks ago. So I've been off alcohol completely for the last, 6 or 7 weeks. Not that I was drinking a lot. I was just socially drinking, but it was creeping into my life again. And I was like, well, this isn't serving me. A couple days, if I have a drink on Saturday or a drink, maybe had a couple of drinks Saturday, a couple of drinks Sunday, your vibration lower. It's just no good. And I know myself, it just doesn't resonate. So I went on a 90-day challenge with a friend of mine, and we said, let's just go no booze. This is fucking easy. And I'm probably going to extend that to much longer than 90. But what I did the night we decided that, or the night after, I had an interview with myself. I think I talked about this. It might've been last week or the week before, but I was cleaning the kitchen. I was home alone. I was in a good mood, and I was getting interviewed as myself in 2 years from now, or I think it was a year from now.
Oh, this is powerful.
And I said, okay, this is who the fuck I am. This is who I want to be as a leader, as a role model, as a father, as a man, as a son, as a brother. And I was like, what the fuck is that guy doing? How is he behaving? What kind of habits does he have? And I started talking like I was on Joe Rogan. I was like, yeah, at this time in my life, I knew that I was I had one foot in, one foot out. I was being the version of old, holding on to that old shit, like drinking, and I had one foot in this door. And I said, I knew how powerful it was at the time, which was, I was speaking of the present moment, to let go of alcohol once and for all. And since that day, everything took off. And I'm saying it like this. And I'm getting goosebumps now repeating it, because I was saying these things as if I'm that person, that version of me that I know I am capable of being and I am becoming, talking about myself a year ago, which was in the now. And it was just crazy, the power, the energy I was feeling. I was like, this might be a manifestation technique that I've never thought about it before. It just happened. I was just in the kitchen having an interview out loud. Like I'm talking out loud to this.
Both voices, or were you answering the questions?
Well, sometimes I'd hear the question, but I was answering the questions to them, awesome. And just going off on this, like what I needed to do, who I needed. And I knew at that moment that I needed to let go of that. And it was just like, holy shit. And that's when I realized, I was piercing time, man. We hear that it's an illusion and it's non-existent, right? It's a human construct. In that moment, I was like, I could feel, it was like that quantum leap. It was like it happened right there. It was like, boom. And I was like, fuck.
You're no longer that other version of yourself.
And then I was also easy on myself, the way I was talking about it. I was being kind and gentle and being like, you know what, it was okay. And I gave myself it was just so crazy. So yeah, that was such a cool, and that's when you said the ultimate version of myself, which I think is always changing. For me, It is, right?
I agree.
Continuously evolving. And I'm like, he's not drinking. He's not wasting his time on his phone. He's not, he's not meditating. He's doing all the things. And I'm not saying perfection, because that's an illusion too. I'm still having a greasy burger, and I'm still, eating this food, and I'm still this and that. But 90% of him is on this, is embodying it. Like he is it.
Dude, that is powerful. That's so funny because we talk about these things, and like, if anybody is listening and they relate, it's because I think we all go through similar steps like that. Like as you're talking, like things are just rattling in my head. I was like, oh my God, I've had moments like this. And I'm not the only one that, because sometimes they can make you feel a little crazy, right? You're like, oh, well,
No, man,
am
I don't know what
I,
you're talking about.
am I alone? Is the anxiety talking to me? And I was
Geez.
like, because you'll appreciate this, because I had a really powerful meditation practice a few months ago, right? So I got diagnosed with panic disorder, went to the ER, did the whole shebang, right? Panic attacks got on top of me, anxiety disorder, bad. And all of a sudden I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna double down into the spirituality world. And what can I do? And that's what that is mindfulness, meditation, and
Yep.
just movement. Let's just do that. So I started
Yes,
meditating when I
so
was down in
good.
Florida, and probably a good like 5 6 months. It was every day, 9 in the morning. I was out by the lake because we lived in this apartment complex. There's a lake. It was beautiful, right? And what happened was I moved up here and I started finding my new routine. I was meditating, and you know when you get the good one, like
Oh
you're
yeah.
gone,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you're float. You're not here.
Yeah.
You're just time and space don't exist.
Yes, sir.
And it took me straight back, I went straight back down to Florida as the version of me now. And like I'm getting chills talking about it. And what was happening is I could remember myself getting chills by the lake. And what happened was I was meditating up here, putting my arm around myself, like saying, thank you. Thank you for doing this. And like, because at that time I was just really diving into like the times of human construct, like everything's happening right now. So
Right
when I'm
now.
getting chills talking about it now, it's
Yep.
my future self putting his
Yeah.
arm. I was like, these are big
Yeah.
moments, man. These are
Yeah.
big. And so when that happened, I was like, oh my God. Like it was one of those like, I want to talk to somebody, but I don't think anyone's gonna really get this. Like this is like you talked about like what is future me? Like I stopped smoking weed, stopped like I'll have a drink here and
Yeah.
there, I'll have a good old fashioned, but like I was like
Sure.
successful, right? Or higher self me
Right.
isn't getting high and doing work. Like so my
No.
panic attacks wouldn't let me smoke anymore. So I was like, well, that's my sign.
Yes.
That's done. But dude, when I
Huge.
tapped in, I was sitting next to myself meditating in Florida while I was up here, and I sat there and I was like, this is crazy. Like I was tripping out, man. I came to, and like, when you come out of your meditation, do you ever see like, I don't want to say the world's like a cartoon, but like sometimes like if you ever take some, we'll call it mind altering substances, and
Yes. I'm
which I know
familiar. I'm very familiar.
I've seen your content, but like, and you know it kind of it kind of looks like an oil painting
Yep.
sometimes.
Yep. Yep.
Well, when I came out of this meditation, like everything was a little
Mm.
vibration, everything had a little bit of air going through, and it was like an oil painting.
You
And
had
I
that
was like,
DMT flowing.
dude, I was like, nothing is real.
Yeah,
Yet
right.
everything is real. I was like,
Yeah,
that's
I
what I was like.
know.
I was like, I don't know what this is.
And here we go. Yeah. Oh my God. So good. Oh man. Thanks for sharing that. That's so
Oh,
good. Like when you talk about the good one, it's such a pair like they're the best, but then it's like you go into your next meditation, like, yeah, we're gonna do that again.
and
And then
it doesn't
fuck.
happen.
And then
Yeah,
there's your expectation ruining the magic. And
there
I
it is.
talk about that all the time. It's like you go into meditation with zero fucking clue what's going to happen. And that's when things happen. And then you go in, you have this magical moment. And then you're like, yeah, let's do that again. I'm going to repeat everything I did. And I'm going to go back there. And we're going to hang out with the beings. And we're just going to go chill. And it's like, nope, you are not.
No one shows up.
No.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's
a
like,
party
shit.
of one.
Oh, man. It's so funny. Yeah, the good ones. That's cool, man.
Yeah, it was wild. But like that, it comes full circle. Is like, you know, not every day is that magical. It can be, but like what we talk about
Yeah.
replicating, like I might not get that meditation again, but like you're being shown things that can help get you to at least the base of that. Like, right? Like I always find I'm not feeling great when a lot of things are going back towards my old lower vibrational self. Like I'm fueling my body pretty poorly on a
Yep.
consistent basis.
Yep.
I'm not meditating.
Yep.
I'm not making content. Like I've taken a content break this like probably week because I was like,
Mhm.
I need to regather myself and stop just making content because I feel like I need to be on the hamster wheel. And it's kind of like this opportunity pops up, right? I get to talk with a dope human like this is one of the greatest
you, brother.
conversations I've had in a while. Like, you know what I
Awesome.
mean? Like, I have like a handful of people I can kind of talk about this with, and most of them are in the comments right now, you know. So thank you
Yeah.
all for being you. But like, I was like, wait, this is like me stepping into that new version or highest version of myself, like being surrounded with this world, talking to you. Like, I just feel like, I don't know, I feel super appreciative, super grateful, and just so happy to be here. And it feels really right. Like,
Oh,
in a world that
man.
there's no right or wrong, this feels
Right.
really
Feels
right.
really
You know?
right. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that. Well, I'm so grateful to be a part of it. And you know what? There was a part of you probably surrendering to letting go to that hamster wheel and the expectation of what, you know, because I know what content creation is like. It's, you know, you get caught up in the Gary V's of the world saying post 3-4 times a day or else you're going to fall off. And it's like, what? That's not why I'm here. Like, yeah, I want to stay relevant. I want to stay, you know, keep building my, you know, whatever you want to call it. But I don't want to sacrifice my heart or my integrity or, you know, what my message is about just to make a message. I don't want to start Googling stuff and be like, okay, that'll be cool to talk about. That'll be cool to talk about. I can't fucking do that. I've tried.
Dude.
I've tried.
Yeah.
I can go through my stuff
Inspire
and
me,
go,
Google.
that was forced. Like, that's not me.
I'm in the process of repurposing old content, right? And I very rarely go back and watch anything I've done. But if it's like a piece of content that people are like commenting on, I'm like, I want to get the gist of what I was talking about. And I watch it and I'm like, what were you doing?
Yeah.
Like, you're like, I'm like, okay, I understand I can talk about like spirituality and this and that, but I was like, you're clearly trying to just clickbait this. I was like, that is not authentic.
Oh, yeah.
But it's resonating with other people, so it's not like I'm just like,
Sure.
that's not who I am now.
Sure.
Like, I'm appreciative of it for reaching the people, but I was like, that was me trying to replicate Michael Armstrong, right? Because I did work with Michael Armstrong, and I was like, oh, okay, that works for him. Let's try it. And I was like, man, you're a suck version of Michael Armstrong because you're not Michael Armstrong.
Exactly.
Be Ben Meyers.
Oh, man. It was my good friend Nick Zai. You know Nick Zai on TikTok? He's long hair.
Yeah.
Awesome dude. I've had him on the show. Him and I talk on Telegram all the time. Just an amazing human being. The guy is fucking magic. And he's blown up. Like, he went to like, I think almost 500,000 on TikTok. He's got 170,000 on Insta too. Like, he blew up on Instagram, which is a lot harder to gain traction on. And you know, I caught myself, hey dude, help me out. Like, maybe, how do you do your content? How do I make? And I had to step back and go, wait, slow the fuck down. Like, I'm not Nick Zai. I don't want to be Nick Zai. I love Nick. I love his content. I love his mind. He's such a brilliant guy. Yeah. But I'm not him. I'm just going to stay in what really resonates and feels aligned for me to share. And most of those things are just on the fly.
You know? And it's so funny you say that, because I talk about you like you talk about Nick, right? I'm sitting there like, I truly mean, I was like, I remember the first time, like, people sent me to your page. That's how I got to your page. It's like, you would love, I'm going to butcher your last name, so I'm just going to say Joey. Labassiere.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's really good. Like, you're in the top like 2% right there.
Labassiere.
Oh, that's even better. Fuck, dude. Yeah, let's just stop there. You nailed it.
All right. But people were like, you would just vibe with Joey's content. You kind of have the same thing, especially when I was talking more about like the mental health stuff and like the self-development, self-healing. And that's why, like, I remember watching, like, I just binge your videos, probably like 10, 15. And I don't do that on TikTok. I very rarely watch other people's TikTok videos. Just because you spend so much time creating them, right?
Yep.
And I remember just writing to you, I was like, yo, I'm so grateful for who you are as a person. Like, thank you for the things you're doing. And that's like when you followed me back or something, I was like, I felt like I just got followed by a celebrity, man.
It's like fucking wild, right?
We talk about putting people on a pedestal. I was like, that's where you like, and it's not so much of like, oh, I want what he has. It's just one of those, like, he is such a good person from a good place doing great things. Like, I would love to be associated with him in a world. Yeah. And like, here I am sitting virtually next to you. Man, and it's crazy. Like, crazy.
It's so cool that you have that awareness, because for me, it's not just that person is a good person and cool. There is parts of my ego going, I want what he has. I want what he's got.
Okay.
I can't deny it but it's not who I am. I can feel the ego come in and go, I had this a really good friend of mine on the show last week, and he's a Chinese medicine doctor here in my area, and he ran a retreat. And I went to the retreat, and I was sitting in the crowd of 120 people watching him lead this group of amazing souls. And I had envy, jealousy. I had a bit of bitterness. And then I wasn't worthy. All in like fucking a minute and a half come up. And I'm sitting there being the awareness around it. So, which was cool because I knew it wasn't me. I was like, oh, there's still little parts of me here. Some jealousy, not really jealous, just going like, why am I not there yet? Because I will do that. Like, why am I not there yet? Why isn't it me? And then the parts of me that really crept in after was like, oh, you couldn't do that. I was like, fuck. And I'm sitting there and we're doing work around my 9-year-old self at the time. So it all makes sense. We're doing inner child work.
Oh.
And I'm like, motherfucker. I'm like, geez, no wonder I'm sitting in this. So yeah, there's this, I can't deny there's parts of me that want what people have. But at the same time, my knowing is like, no, I'm going to create what I'm going to create because it is aligned with, me.
So I have a question for you there.
Sure.
Do you want their end result or do you want their process? Because I often feel, for me, I'll just give you a little insight of me. I don't ever really get envious of what people have because I think that is truly authentic to them. Sometimes I get envious of their process and how committed they can be to certain things.
Ooh.
Because I feel like if I could do that, I would create that's the sauce. Like that's what I'm looking for is the process. That like what is the thing that I could just get up and give myself to for 25 hours of a day and just love it and not want to sleep, not want to eat, not want to talk. Like what is that? Because these people, they found it. But it's not a grind, it's living.
It's aligned action for them. Yeah. That's big. That's probably 99% of it. There's still a part of me that wants my Porsche 911 one day. I want the thing. Like it's just a car that my inner child just loves this car. And I love the car.
Gary Vee wants to buy the jets. You want the Porsche.
Right. Exactly. And it's just one of those things. That's okay. But I see the people, you're right. When I see the people in their fucking fire and they're fucking killing it, but they seem balanced. Like they're not just grind. They're not just get the fucking money. They're not just all that. It's this balanced action and receiving and everything that just, it's like a dance to watch them work.
I was just thinking a beautiful dance.
It's a dance. And I've gotten into that flow. I found it. I haven't been able to really bring it together as a formula necessarily yet, but I've been in that flow and I'm like, oh, and I love to watch it. And I think I'm envious of the guys that are like, yeah, I'm up at 5. I'm cold plunge at 5:15. I meditated by 5:30. And I'm like, that's fucking amazing. I'm like, my 2 kids will not let this happen. And it's like, so there's parts of that I want. Like I want that, but I don't know. I think you're right. I think it's more the process than anything. And seeing them, like they say, you don't work a day in your life when you find that passion and you follow it.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what I've been struggling with lately. I was just talking to my fiance about it. I was just like, I feel like I'm not living my purpose and it's breaking my heart. And it was from the side, like, and she had to remind me, she's like, you're helping people. Like you're doing what, I was like, I think it was a little bit of impatience too, you've been put. So, but it was just kind of like, I felt like I got knocked really far off my rail. And I'm just kind of like feeling like really, really lost. And it's kind of like at the core of me, helping people is it, but I'm ready to level up. And I know when this moment happens, I'm about to take a giant leap. But this moment comes in of that we talk about like the good enough, am I worthy enough? Not of other people, but like I feel like I'm letting myself down, like truly letting myself down. Like you're not doing what you can do. Like I don't want to use the phrase better than this, but it's one of those like, you have so much to give and you're dropping the ball right now. So let's figure it the fuck out. And so then I start coaching myself, you know, like, because I do life coaching and all those things. And I have to start coaching myself. And you talk about being kind and being, you know, gentle with yourself.
Gentle,
But there's also that athlete in me that like needs to turn on that athletic brain.
Yep.
Like, yo, let's practice. Let's
Yeah.
suck. Who cares?
Yep.
Suck and go.
Yep.
They just like
Yep.
keep going. So yeah, that's like the whole open, vulnerable, and raw thing here. Like that's how I feel. That's where I'm at right now. So if anybody is in here feeling the same way and want to like connect with that, like you ain't alone. Like I want people to know that like you're definitely not alone.
Well, and that we talked. Yeah, it's funny because I'm in a really good place right now. I got a lot going on. I'm in a really good place, but there's moments, man. Like there's weeks of just everything I thought I knew. I know nothing. Like you're just like being on fire, unstoppable, knowing that everything working out to like, am I sure? Like, are we sure? Because like, and it's not a dominant energy. It's like maybe a 4%, maybe a 3% that creeps in. But that's really good because I remember being at a fucking 90% depressed and 10% fucking light. It'd be, you know, like I was there for a long fucking time. So I'm okay. And what I'm learning too is like, there's still beauty in those moments when you're down here. You know, there's times, maybe it's time to recharge. Maybe it's time to take a step back and breathe. Maybe it's time to go fucking take a nap. Have you been outside lately? Like, it's very rare that when I feel like I've fallen off, it's very rare that it's a big thing I got to adjust. It's usually I'm not doing 2 or 3 things that I normally do, and I added 2 or 3 things that I don't normally do. And they're fucking around here, and my energy's all whacked. I'm like, well, fuck, I haven't meditated in a week. And I've been going to bed at 1 because I've been cruising TikTok or doing something on YouTube. And my sleep is shit. My food's crap. I'm like, weird.
I wonder where. And then do you ever feel that thing too? You're like, and like you're convinced you're like, that ain't it though. Like, that ain't it.
Yeah. It's always that. It's like, well, dude, you haven't meditated in 7 days. Yeah, but I mean, that's not a big deal anymore.
What are the chances? That's what it is.
It changed my life forever, but I mean, it can't be that anymore.
No, it's a thing I preach to other people. Like, you want to change your life, this is what you do. Well, why do you feel like shit? I haven't meditated in 7 days.
It's so stupid. It's
I don't know.
fucking great though.
I've eaten 3 boxes of pizza in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
That's only helped me.
Yeah, of course. It's been reset my system. It really needed the carbs and the really crappy cheese.
That's it, man.
It really needed it,
dude. And like that's like the thing I do. I have to tell myself too. Somebody DM'd me. Like I said, I've been pretty vulnerable on Instagram this past week, just because I want to show people like what I'm going through and how I help get through it and those kind of things. And I had a really good conversation with somebody. It was like, this often, when I think of like these depressive and anxious states, more depression, I think this way. It's like, I have to feel this way because it's these emotions rising up and leaving to make more space for the things that are coming next. And I never lose faith that something is coming next. It's just I get the self-doubt, man. It just kind of comes into like, and it's usually money driven, right? It's usually kind of like, well, I stopped life coaching because I felt like I wasn't good enough. So now it's kind of like I'm trying to get back, and then it's just kind of like, oh, I don't know, like charging for people, and I hate currency because that takes away from the.
I get it.
That takes away from like what I'm trying to do. And but at the end of the day, like I've never once got kickback.
Well,
it's me.
I was gonna say, think about this for a second. There are people like, and when it came to, you know, when I started going out there with my business and charging, and you know, from groups or one-on-ones and different price points and stuff, and so many times I question my worth, and I'm like, you know, I question my worth, and a few people have told me this throughout this journey. It's like, if this person would work for you tomorrow for 10 grand, would you do it? I'd be like, fucking rights. I'd find that money because I know the value I'd get from this person that can bring in, you know. And it's also realizing that you're bringing your light and you're bringing your gifts to someone who needs it. You can receive that in return. Like, my goal is to always just over deliver. Like, that's one thing, like, it continuously goes through my head. It's like, did I do enough? Did I do enough? I'll give more. And I drain myself that way sometimes. I'm still working on that. But the goal is always show up, always set your intention, always to create that space, and really, and it works out, man. And yeah, you start to know your worth a lot more. But it is a you thing, man. It is.
It is.
100%.
And but that's what but like, that's the vicious cycle, right? It's the self-worth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like, in like corporate America, you have someone you're working for and you can know if you're doing a good job. Whether they give you more money, they give you a pat on the back, or you make more money if you're in sales or anything like that. In this world, for me, it's really hard to tell when I'm doing a good job because my measure isn't money.
Mm-hmm.
My measure is influence and impact and like how I help people. And when I, when my reach drops on TikTok, I don't feel like I'm helping people. And when I don't feel like I'm helping people, my self-worth drops through the floor. And that's when I start questioning, like, maybe people don't want to hear, like, the algorithm something, I think it does its job and people aren't seeing me anymore. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, stop thinking that way. Start thinking, how can I better help people and how can I get in front of those? Because maybe it's just in my reality, it's showing me like, no, that gig is up. You did a really good job. You hit that one out of the park, but now you got to arrive at your next show. Let's go.
Well, let's go back to my first account. I had almost 200,000 followers on TikTok.
God, that's right.
And gone in a blink of an eye. So look, I get it. And to me, like, my success, the way I built my business was around TikTok. So I had this piece of attachment going, what the fuck am I going to do now?
Yeah.
Like, it was like, but it only took me about 20 minutes to half an hour to pivot in that moment and realize, no, fuck that. I'm the reason I built the following. What I brought, my energy, my story, my vulnerability. I can do that again. That's who I am. I'm going to continue doing it anyway. Man. So, you know what?
Fuck yeah.
I've had moments where the algorithm has been like 200 views, 300 views, 200 views, 300 views on some of what I thought was a great video. Just keep making it. Keep making it for the reason you made it in the first place, and you watch it. It'll bounce back. It ebbs and flows, but I think it really does come down to where are your beliefs around what you're putting out there? What are you feeling?
How do you feel
really
on that one right there? How do you feel? Because you're somebody, when I watch, I can feel your energy through the video, right? And a lot of times that usually is like eye contact with the camera, this and that, but you're someone, like, it's through your cadence. It's through like, when I hear you talk, it's heartfelt. It's like I'm listening to somebody who's gone through this, is sitting on the other side of it, and is like, hey, take my hand, I'm going to help you through this in like a really kind and easy way. So that's my question, is like, do you, before you press record, do you consciously tap into that energy?
No.
Or is that just you?
It's
That's
just me.
Who you are.
I love it. Awesome. Like, I love that stuff. Like, if I love watching a speaker speak because he's in it, like he fucking feels it, not because of who it is. Like, there's something about words. I love bringing words to life. Like, even if I read a chapter out of a book or a passage out of a book, like I've done in Brianna Weiss stuff, like those words are amazing, but I love bringing it to life. I love my energy. So I don't know. I just always I love that. I love that stuff. So it's just me to bring it out. And, I very, very rarely re-record something unless it was like I really fucked up big time. Like, I'll just go with it. And no, it's not something I think of, but the best videos are the ones I don't have to think, and I'm just in an energy and I let it flow. Right. So
absolutely.
I don't know if that made any sense.
It makes a lot of sense. And I'll tell you why. It's because that's where I think I'm at, right? I think I'm at that point where I'm like, stop trying to find the videos that inspire you so much and recreate them. Cause I stopped doing that, but like now I'm like, I don't know. My whole goal is to make the marriage between spirituality and mental health. Cause I think there's a massive link. Like, undeniable.
Dude, it's what saved me. Like, it's everything for me.
And that's
everything.
Like, that's where I think I'm because I always ask the question, like, what are the books that connect spirituality, mental health, and science, and this and that. And people are like, if it existed, the world would be so different. And that's where I'm like, oh, okay. So I find myself, I'm currently reading the book You Are the Universe, which I would recommend.
Who writes that? Who wrote that?
Let me look at it real quick. I do all audiobook for anybody who thinks.
Well, then I got a book for you too.
So it's by Deepak Chopra and Minas Kafatos.
Got it.
But yeah.
The Way of the Superior Man. Have you read it?
No.
Oh, dude. The Way of the Superior Man. It's like, it's blowing my mind to pieces in the most beautiful way. It's bringing me into my heart more than I ever could even imagine. It is an amazing book. And I think anybody, man or woman, should read that book. And yeah, The Way of the Superior Man. I think it's, forget the author, but check it out.
That's all. No, I will check that out, because that's, because I want to express how it's helped me and like make sense of it all. But do you find that imposter syndrome of like, I'm not an expert, like I didn't go to school, I didn't do, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, wait a second, I live this.
You're living in the school, bro. You're literally,
I am the school, man.
Yeah, we are all the school. This whole fucking experience as a human is a school. And
that's where I think I want to, that's it, is I want to make it feel that way. I want to make it feel like I'm always just like, that's why I'm somebody like you. I think of it this way. I think like a tour guide that's still on the tour. I'm just here pointing out, like I'm on the roller coaster, riding it for the 4th time, and I'm like, hey, this is the big drop. Hey, this is where that happens. I still feel the effects of it, but I see it, I feel it and see it coming. It's that self-awareness. And once you start like peeling back that reality layer of like energy, and then you see energy, frequencies, vibrations, all of that stuff, you're like, oh, there's more.
The mental health breakdowns of most people, I think, is their soul just screaming, listen, fuck. This matrix is falling away. You're seeing it. Go within now. Come find me. Come home. Because it's like, I never knew what that shit meant. 7 years ago, I'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, I heard about meditation. I knew Eckhart Tolle. I read one of his books. Blah, 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 blah.
Power of Now?
Blah, blah, blah. No, it's The New Earth, actually. I did.
Oh.
Yeah, which I fucking love.
If you haven't read The Power of Now, I highly recommend it.
I know. I got to get it's weird how I have not. But it's so good. And so it's like, I still feel like, I still put all these other spiritual, beautiful souls that I'm connected with and talk to, and I still put them here. And I'm like, I'm still developing. And I think that's something beautiful about continuously being a student and always being a student, because I see a lot of creators, and trying not to judge, but I've transcended my trauma. I've transcended this dimension, and I've gone past I'm like, I can't believe it. I can't.
That's why I think I stopped.
I
think like, that's why I think I stopped kind of making that content, because I started to not feel authentic. And I always promise myself, it doesn't feel authentic, remove yourself from it. And I see someone in the chat, Rick. He's somebody that I used to talk about this stuff all the time with, and he's the person that introduced me to Alan Watts. And I was just texting him the other day, and I was like, because have you ever heard of like the Ikigai, like how you do the whole, it's like a Venn diagram, and it takes you to your soul purpose. I'll send it to you in Telegram. Please. But ultimately, like, I found out, like, I was texting him, and I was like, I want to do and be what Alan Watts did.
Yeah.
And like, it sounds so crazy, because like, yeah, wouldn't everybody? I was like, but no, I feel really connected to that. Like, I want to make videos and like just express and give wisdom. I don't know. That's where I think the imposter comes in. It's like, I don't know where this wisdom comes from,
but it flows
like, when
through
I'm
you
in the moment, man.
Oh yeah,
like,
same,
it's
brother.
It's this like, I tap into something, and I'm like, where did that come? I'm like, who are you to even say those things?
Well, that's
I was like,
yeah.
But fuck, did it sound good?
Right?
Like,
I know, and it's beautiful. There's just nothing quite like that tapped in feeling, where you don't have to think. You are just this extension of God. You are literally a fucking conduit to source energy flowing through you. Like you are expressing that. And some people get triggered by that, but we are extensions of God. We are God expressed in human form. Like we all have access to this.
Dude, because you think about like just energy, right? Like being in the same room, or just like the energy in like just say this podcast. Like you can't deny like when things click, and that goes with yourself too. Of like just because we're not in the same room doesn't mean there's not like an exchange of energy and conversation.
Of course.
And just so like if no one's in this room with you, are you not communicating with something? No, it's not the case. Like you are always communicating through energy, frequency, vibrations, and what you're doing and how you're acting. It's not so much, and that's what happens is it's not so much what I'm saying. It's I truly feel what I'm saying at that moment in time. And then when like I kind of break out of it, I'm like, what? I'm like, wow, that was, I didn't know that was in there.
Well, and I see this with my clients all the time. So I bring people into hypnosis. So I go, we find that realm real quick with a lot of my clients, right? And so the channeling and information that comes through, it's unbelievable. The voices change. My clients' voices change. Like, this is a lot to say, but like I have clients that channel ascended masters. Like you're talking about Christ consciousness and things like this that are accessible to everyone, but we it's too big for a lot of us. We try to do that, but we have access to so much knowledge, information.
Dude. I'm getting chills.
It's proven. It's like, if you look at Many Lives, Many Masters, that's a book that was written by
Brian Weiss.
There you go. And in between the lives, what would happen? He would bring in information from these masters. Like,
dude, and
you have no clue.
Dude. Oh, and like you're talking about your experience through like as working with like hypnosis, like you see that stuff. And this is something like I know we talked about something like I'm going to say, and if this was like a talk show, this would get clipped up and probably make me look nuts. I'd probably be like,
you're on the right place. You're in the right place.
I'd have a lot of religious people being like, off with this guy's head. From a young age, right? So I went to Catholic school, didn't identify with it. I get really, really bad feelings when I go into a Catholic church. Like I have passed out at communion when I got my first. So I say that to preface this. You talk about Christ consciousness. I have always felt as if I was a version of that. Not thinking I'm and like the ego part of it. Not thinking like worship me. It was I'm that special that I can change and impact that many lives. I just don't know how to do it. That and like that's probably the best way I can say is like I use like a light would just be behind me. Like I just felt like, and it probably has something to do with like my mom and dad made me feel that way too. Like my mom, like I've always looked up to my mom in such like I've always said she's an angel walking this earth. Like, and there's things that you say that's like, oh, you're a really good son. I'm like, no, I no bullshit. If I wasn't her son, I truly feel that woman is an angel walking this earth.
And like she probably
she's
is.
my guiding light. Like she is.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel like is like I talk about that Christ consciousness. It's kind of like I feel I have the ability to make that type of an impact. It's just tapping in to how to do that. And that's where I think I'm at. It was like you talk about those like them expectations and stuff like that. Like, those are pretty high expectations to put on yourself. But also like not if it's your purpose though. Not if it's your purpose. Like that's what I'm here to do. I'm just getting now a little impatient because I'm
there you go. Like even as hard as it is to express it verbally, and like you said, people would think you're nuts, but you're able to say it because your knowing is so fucking strong. If your knowing wasn't there, you wouldn't throw these words around. Let's be fucking honest. Like come on.
No.
That's what it's about. And it's every time you can train yourself to come back to the home, back to the heart, back to the knowing, the stronger and stronger it gets. And that's a dance in itself. It doesn't mean meditation is the only way. It means what are your things that you consistently can do to keep yourself in a higher vibration, which a higher vibration is in your knowing. It's your solid foundation. You know, it's not the huge swings of like, it's just that balanced home feeling, you know? But yeah, you wouldn't have said it if you didn't know it.
And it also it kind of makes me think, like, because a lot of people get that feeling of like, I just want to go home, right? Like the whole I want to go home when they're here. I've been experiencing the feeling of being very restricted and confined to like a little space. Like I feel like that's where I think I get frustrated. Is like I can't reach everybody. I can't give what I want to give because like I'm just restricted in this. I don't wanna even just say body, but like this dimension of like I can do so much, but it's like taking away Michael Jordan's right hand and being like, okay, learn how to play left-handed, which he probably could have.
You probably
I'm
would
not
have been all right.
comparing
Yeah.
myself. Yeah, I'm like, that's a bad comparison, but like that's how I feel. Is like learning how to operate that type of energy in this type of machinery. And that's, I guess that is the dance, right? That is like,
Yeah.
no, that's why you came here. That's what you chose to do. You
Yeah.
chose to come here and do that. So reverse engineer it.
Yeah, well, that's just it. I love that, man. Oh, well, on that note, I can't, like I told you at the beginning of the show, I'm like, we're going to fucking fly through this hour.
Oh
And
my
here we
God,
are.
that's an hour. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
dude. See, I could
Wow.
do the Rogan thing and go 3 hours, but we're going to keep people wanting more from you instead and have you on again.
Dude, I don't even have to say it. I would anytime, any place, anywhere, man. I am there.
Cool.
Thank you, one, for having me. This has been super
Yeah, of
cool sharing
course.
conversation with you. And
Yeah.
everybody who's jumped in here, thank you for bringing that. I always like to thank people for the energy they brought into the room because that really sets a stage.
It really does, man. It's something that I've been really, really aware of more and more than ever is the everyone here on my lives and on your lives, like it's the light that they bring to the container and they create the energy of it. It's not just the people talking, like it's really not. It's not even close. So, Ben, with a few, I have the last 2 questions that I always ask my guests, and they've changed a little bit since I revamped, rebooted the show here in the fall. The first question, you kind of have your choice. You have a choice of being vulnerable again and giving everyone something that you haven't maybe talked about before, something vulnerable about yourself, or some words of wisdom, something that has truly changed your life for the better. Which one do you choose?
What was A again?
A was just something vulnerable about you, something that you think you could share that would bring some value that you maybe haven't shared much of.
I would normally take A, but the Christ consciousness comment, I feel like that was as vulnerable and real as I could get with being
Beautiful.
like,
yeah.
So words of wisdom, I'll choose B, words of wisdom. And as I talk to anybody in here, I'm also talking to myself. Remove the timeline. There's no such thing as it. You're right on time. You're right on time. And I'm feeling that so much in my chest right now. It's like almost making me throw up how I think real that like and I don't get this feeling as much. I usually get it in my stomach, but that's like when I said you're right on time, that hit really hard.
Got you right there.
You're right on time, man.
Thank you. Last question. When Ben is feeling his most alive, when he's living his best life, what does it mean to be alive for you? What does that look like?
Raising vibrations and helping other people. And not just in the sense of like holding the door or helping somebody up. When I feel I'm helping somebody tap into the best part of themselves that they may not have even known was there. If I introduce spirituality in a way and all of a sudden like it sparks them up and like I know maybe I just changed the way they see themselves. I don't ever want the recognition. It's not for that. It's when I know I did some shit for somebody to help them find themselves and love their journey. That shit, I'm cloud 9.
Yep.
I did
Lights
it.
you the
Like,
fuck
I
up,
did
huh?
it.
Yeah.
I did it. Game, set, match.
Beautiful.
High fives.
On that note, thank you, brother. This has been a breeze. So much fun, so much flow, so much beautiful energy and love and respect. And thank you, everyone, for being here again for Alive with Joey. We'll be back again next Wednesday, with another beautiful guest. I haven't got him locked in just yet, but keep your eye out for the promo. And Ben, we'll have you on again, I'm sure, and sooner than later.
I appreciate it, brother. And thank you, everybody. Much love.
All right, Ben, just hang tight. When I end the broadcast, I'll talk to you after this. But thank you,
Right
everybody.
on, right on.
Have a great night.
See you, everybody.
See ya.